Hey guys, it's Farrell. Welcome back to Mini Worlds, and I'm out here exploring. I've kind of run across this weird little thing out here. I'm generating the world and trying to get all the chunks generated on the main overworld so that way I can actually switch the server over to 1.9 and possibly 1.10. Start getting some more block types in here. But it looks like I've got some odd new block types right now to work with. I'm not exactly sure what this all is. But it looks like some sort of portal, and well, I'm reasonably geared up. Let's go through it.
Apparently I jumped on right in the middle of the fight. Okay, no, there we go. Okay, so if I'm basing off of the X on my right here, then I want to go out a little ways, and I do kind of like a cliff city almost. There's a spot I'm looking at on the map right now that looks like it might be pretty reasonable. It's a decent distance away from spawn and not too close to... I can see some area that was cleared for dark oak, but not like a massive amount of it. It's somewhat reasonably distant away from any significant bodies of water. I think I might head out there and see what I get first. And if that's the case, I need to head out of the town here, and on heading out we're going to head off to the right. We're going to pass through a desert. So anyways, let's just talk about why I'm supporting X, and it comes down to the same sort of reason why I support all of the other people I support on Patreon. Is I like the videos that they put out. I find that they are very useful to, as not only enjoying things, but in the case of Asuma's videos, learning something about the game I'm playing. So that kind of finally came up, and I knew about Plot World, but I've never really never really gone over there to do anything, even though I get kicked over there once the UHCs finish up. And that's pretty much because, well, the whole thing with doing that is you're having to then, you're on a situation where you've got people who could technically be doing griefing, and I know it's really not likely that that is the case, but at the same time it's not something I just really want to take a chance on. So there is that, and also the fact that, I mean, Plot World's a great idea, but it's in the word plot, so you are limited to what you can do in a single area. And you've seen the builds that I've done. If you've seen my videos on Hermitcraft, if you haven't seen my videos before, you will find that I constantly manage to mix up Hermitcraft and Zombiecraft together. It drives me absolutely nuts when I do that. I'm heading over towards a birch forest. The birch forest on the right, and it's curving around to the left with a river through it, so I know exactly where I am, and the place I'm looking at is, well, I'm about a third of the way there right now. So what I'm looking at is kind of, when I build stuff, like if you saw my Spumcraft builds, you've seen that I tend to spread out a bit. Out here, I don't necessarily want to use anything, but at the same time, okay, if it's a partially removed tree like this, then yeah, I'm going to go for it. Ooh, wow, the server lag is bad. And this is kind of one of the things I was worried about, because I am on a server that is quite busy, and also the fact that I am you know, it's an audience that's going to primarily be overseas, so there is going to be some lag to be expected with that. I see that on ZombieCraft too, so I'm no stranger to it at least. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Technically, I could do a second sword, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. I hung on to that extra, whatchamacallit there, strictly as a backup in case I needed it. But I'm going to rely primarily on bow because I really don't want to mess up my armor if I can, because this is going to have to last me a while. I don't know what to expect underground. I don't know if I'm going to be able to ask for a camera count. I had the in-game volumes turned down because I just wasn't sure what to expect. Now there's a custom texture pack on this server. They did tell Minecraft it's allowed to use, but I'm not exactly sure what the end result is going to be. And I just saw... I see dinner. Yeah, so ZombieCraft, I've spread out. I've got Zombieland Studios. In the first world, I had Iceblade, or my first season on that, I had Iceblade. And Spumcraft Season 1, I was spread out a little bit over at Egg Harbor, and then again over at Old Border Village. So I have a tendency when I build to sprawl. And Plot World, in general, wouldn't really work all that well for me. And that would be why it ends, because this is part of the mountain range I think I'm looking at here, to be honest. So I can just follow this along, and I should at some point come across another body of water, at which point I want to strike north. I'll cross another river, and then it's just a short trip through the woods. But it does look like I'm going... Dinner. It does look like I am going to be building in mostly birch, unless I can manage to... Yeah, that's okay. Anyways, I gotta strike north from here. So what am I going to build on this server? Well, this is... and you're going to hear me try to say assume avoid, and it's just a weird word for me to say. My tongue doesn't quite slip. It tends to slip when I say it, so it sounds kind of weird, I think. So you might hear me say X more often than not. It's definitely going to be mostly a build in birch, it looks like, at this point. Or if I am, I'm going to have to set up one heck of a major farm for bringing in some other tree types. And I know I just passed some oak back there at least, so there is that. Oh. Two things. First off. Okay, so we're good there, and... Okay, good. Now I can make a bed, so once I get there, at least I'm in good shape. This is what I was seeing on the map. Yep, this is exactly what I was seeing on the map. So, I'm kind of thinking a cliffside community here. Something where I can do some building out from the edges. In fact, it kind of looks like that's even got a spot where I could kind of put like a glass floor or something and make that my main base up there. And just do some community building off to the side. Now, the one thing, like I said, I have to keep trying to hit J to get my journey map up, and I don't have that capability. Smack dab in a birch forest. And in terms of building out and around, let's get a little closer here. So there's a little bit of a hill over there. And then over here... I hear you, chicken, but there you are. Sorry, I'm still kind of in UHC mode right now, and just needing a lot of food. Got some sheep there I could pen up if I wanted to. It's not a bad spot to build. I mean, these overhangs are overhangs, and they do show up on the map, but they don't, like, stick out like a sore thumb. And yeah, I think I can work with this. Like I said, I can turn this into kind of like a column, build a tower going up to it, and I've got my place in here. Whoa! Huh. I don't know if I can build down over here because there's definitely something at the bottom of that. And this does not make sense as being a natural chasm. I mean, sure, a sheep could... Actually, I don't think a sheep could really survive a fall down to that level. Possibly. Or actually, it might be this spot here. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm getting it. It's giving me an isometric view on the map. And yeah, it's a tiny little spit of land there connected, and this is the main island. It sticks out to there, and then there's that little spit of land over there. I could build there. I'm not normally one to building in a swamp. I mean, I did build Egg Harbor over at a swamp on Spumcraft Season 1. So it's not like I'm adverse to building in a swamp, but at the same time, because one of the advantages you get is lots of clay that you can pull up, of course. But, I mean, it's kind of flat, and I really feel like I need a I mean, if I wanted to build in a flat area, I'd definitely be working with I would definitely be working within... This looks like creeper damage over here, or... Nope, just a hole into a cave. Traditional Minecraft. Post-world generation cave collapsing. So yeah, the problem here is if I try to go further out this direction, this is all swamp out here. And I can even see on the map it's dotted with lily pads, so really the only clear water you get is going to be in here. So making a boat doesn't really make much sense. In fact, you can even see some of the swamp is just barely curving around to touch on the land here. So that, and why am I seeing a beacon beam? Now there is some hillier terrain further inland from this, from what I can tell on the map. It's not a really good geographic view. I'm not really seeing so much of the sloping, but I'm seeing some of it. It's just not the sheer cliffs, and there's a sheer cliff across the water, as you can see here, but it's also swampland. So we've got that problem as well, which that really would not work out too well for... Yeah, I mean, the dark grass looks better, in my opinion, but not really. And everything else I'm looking at is either be going into extreme hills, and I'm a little leery of that just strictly because there's a person, I can see a build on the map. It's not labeled, so I don't know if it means it's not official or anything. I mean, the fact that I can even see torches here is kind of telling. It's always the fun of trying to establish yourself on a established map because you have no idea what to really expect. Let's do that so I can start getting some red dye. That is a swamp. More birch forest down that way. I can cross over and to the right of the extreme hills, a little further inland, it's savanna, which is also not my first choice for building. There's some mountainous terrain around further off to the further off in this direction, but it's also closer to someone else's base, so I need to stay away from that. There's some mountain terrain generation much further out, but I think I want to avoid that as well. There's some cliffside stuff I could do there, but it's a very thin mountain. And then there's the Mesa server, which looks like someone's... Mesa, there's already someone over there. There's a jungle much further, and I definitely want to avoid that. That was an absolute death trap in the Extreme UHC. There was just I took 1.5 hearts of damage just because of the 110 collision mechanics, where a teammate was coming up behind me and managed to bump me enough that I went flying off the hill because I didn't have shift held down. Do I want to keep going, or do I want to settle for something here, or look for something else? A lot of the western part, I think the western part, yeah, it's the western part of the map is savanna and desert, and it's pretty populated. You've really got to go quite a ways out to find something that isn't actively being built on in some way, shape, or form. Alright, so if I want to make my way over to that land, then I need to cross in this general direction. I so want to get, whatchamacallits, problem is I'm A, running out of food very fast, and B, I don't have all of the stuff in the world that I'd like to have for resources. So I'm looking at things that I'm going through on the map and saying, boy, wouldn't it be nice if I could grab some mushrooms. Because that clearly generated a little derpily. So I'm okay with using that up, because then I can start a mushroom farm. Now that spire, that cobble spire over there, is on the map I'm using to go around. And I don't know if that's representative of someone having settled there or not, or if it's a viewing platform or what. XP, thank you. Let's see, the spot I'm looking for is actually just a little beyond that spire. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to be hopefully hoping on someone to sleep the night away. Oh, Pigoo! In other words, known as dinner. Thank you. The problem is I also don't have the lighting indicator on, so I don't have that subtle reinforcement to my mind of, oh, hey, dummy, it's dark out here. Watch it, things could spawn. Another one of those. So that. I'm not going to worry about making shears to get anything for a I'm not going to worry about shears for vines just yet, because I don't know what purpose I would actually need for vines right now. That was the other problem with the UHC, the Extreme UHC, is I managed to mess up my combat with the axe and was swinging like 1.8 and 1.9. I mean 1.8, but not 1.9, I should say. And net result is the axe was doing next to no damage because I was being an idiot. Let's swap over here. It looks like some of this may have been burned at some point. But there's the extreme, well, I don't know if it's exactly extreme hills or just Hills M? River. Still river. Just barely missed the cave. Birch Forest M. Okay. That's a new one. Never been in a Birch Forest M before. Not that I'm a fan of Birch Forest to begin with is the problem. Not really too partial to birch. It's not a bad looking wood, but the light woods just don't seem to have that same oomph that you get out of regular darker woods. right now either, huh? Toss that over to the side for now, just because. Yeah, the problem with this is building up here is if I build up top, then I'm going to have the same problem I had with Iceblade over on Zombie Craft Season 1 for me, and it just means you spend a lot of time going up and down and up and down and up and down until you actually have a portal done. And that's the other problem I also have to watch out for, is I do have proximity to other people potentially here. But the hill terrain kind of does lend itself to what I was thinking of, especially up in here. This has potential here. This has some serious potential here, actually. I mean, I still don't like the fact that I'm that close to a to the swamp, but I do like. It's kind of like this box canyon almost. So it wouldn't take too much to actually develop this into kind of a not necessarily a fort, because it won't be too secure, but it reminds me of the place I was trying to build when I was the last time I ran a modded map for some friends. I had something very similar with the setup, where it was kind of like a box canyon where I could kind of just seal myself in, and the only problem there is the mobs could still come in from the top, and you know, this andesite over there, I don't know. Well, the upside is I've got ready access to some caves, ready access to some coal, which is even better, so I can finally do some torches. I've got multiple access to caves there. Yep, someone did some sleeping. And deep access to caves. And the reason why I like that is because it makes it a lot easier to do a lot of the initial resource gathering, since it's going to be exposed instead of having to branch mine like crazy for everything. It's weird being able to see the heart diagrams like that. But yeah, I'm guessing someone must have... Yeah, this looks like someone was just trying to pillar up through here and just did that. Which, hey, for andesite. So yeah, I think this is going to be where I pick. Not only that, but, okay, this is now the second time I have seen... Second and third... Okay, if this isn't a sign that I'm in the right place, the reason I'm saying this is I was flying around in the Extreme UHC doing commentary after I died, and this is my first, well, then it was my first time seeing massive birch trees like this. I've never seen them actually this tall in the game before. And, well, I'm surrounded by them here. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a sign. I've got water, I've got mushrooms, I've got caves, I've got some coal ready to go so I can start getting into a place and start sealing it up. And from here, I've got just enough of... Let's see, where am I? You can't even see the water on this map because the trees are hiding it. There's enough of a gap going out in this direction. I think that if I really wanted to, I actually could bring in some of, put in a path out to the lake out here. But even then, this isn't too bad to get out into. And from here, this gives me a pretty decent shot to get about halfway over to spawn. Well, not halfway, about a quarter of the way, because I can cross the lake on that. And I'm also not too far from someone else's build, and I can see that there's a portal on the map, so I can actually kind of to have that spot to build in. So it's going to be a valley house, essentially, or valley fort. It's going to be built up here. So we're going to see how that turns out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started, get myself established, because a lot of this is just going to be grindy, 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 and I don't think you guys need to sit through all of that. So let me go ahead and unload here. And actually, do I want to unload there, or do I want to unload in the... I am going to need the torches over. Anyways, I'm waffling on this. I'll start building stuff. I'm not, since I don't have the camera count, not really planning to do necessarily any time lapses on the server yet, and I'm going to kind of hold off on any sort of world tour until I kind of get a better idea of where everyone is and who they are, and kind of feel things out a little bit. But definitely expect to see the occasional video. I don't know how many videos I'll be doing on this. It'll probably be very infrequent, just because this is going to be more for a creative build to get away from some of the other builds that I'm doing. And obviously I've got many worlds that is starting back up, and I've got Zombiecraft and Spumcraft builds that I am also working. In fact, Zombiecraft, I've got some 20-plus projects over there that I'm working on. But those are going to be more of the builds that you're going to see the time lapses out of. This is going to be more me showing off some of the finished builds. So anyways, I will catch you guys in the next episode.